What's going on, guys? So today on this Shoky kind of quickie, we're going to take a look at something new-ish from NECA, and it is another of their NECA Back to the Future 7-inch thereabouts line. And this is our first version of Doc Brown. In fact, they call it the Ultimate Doc Brown. They just don't specify which. This is actually 1955 Doc. So right here on the cover, you get the Save the Clock Tower news article, which is fun. You get Doc's goggles, you get the brain reading thingy, you get the flux capacitor drawing, you get a wrench, pipe wrench specifically. Local farmer claims space zombie wrecked his barn. That's pretty cool. You get a jacket, you get designs for things, house blueprints, which I thought was really strange, and then some equations for things, and Back to the Future 35. And if we open it up, we get an image of Doc going, I can't actually make the face. With the clock tower in the background. And then here you actually have a really nice shot of Doc's mansion, which is a really cool mansion in my opinion. Obviously the figure's not in there, but it is what it is. Like I said, Ultimate Doc Brown. Come to the back, you've got Doc Brown. Look, more Doc Brown. Some more Doc Brown. And you got Marty McFly and Doc Brown experience the adventure of a lifetime, and it's the same stupid thing. Your 35th anniversary collection, Marty McFly, Marty McFly, Marty McFly, Doc Brown, Bill Tannen. I said Bill. Biff. There is a new Marty out. It's the audition version of Marty, which is basically the same as this Marty, but without a red jacket. And he comes with stuff that didn't happen in that particular chunk of the movie. And a not so great head sculpt. I looked at it today in Walmart. I don't know that I'll get it. I don't think it comes with enough to make it worth it. It comes with the Walkman from this version and one of the spare heads, either from him or him. A guitar that this one didn't have, no skateboard, no backpack, a flyer for the Battle of the Bands, and the picture that he had throughout the movie that's halfway dissolved, and then a hand that's disappearing. Oh, he also comes with a pick, a guitar playing hand. So some of those things make no sense because that's partially 1955 Marty, and we don't even have a 1955 Marty. So we need a Calvin Klein Marty. We need a movie 2 1955 Marty, and then we need a playing at the whatever Under the Sea dance, Enchantment Under the Sea dance version of Marty. And what would be cool is to get the whole band as a whole setup. I would totally pay for that. It's your cousin Marvin Berry. I would totally get Marvin Berry and his band. That would be badass. Anyways, so let's go ahead and look at Doc. And I have done an out of box a long time ago for the Patreon, so they got to see that stuff. If you're interested in seeing stuff generally when I get it, and way before anybody else does, you can actually sign up for the Patreon. I've got different levels of stuff. Make sure you choose the level that best suits you. But either way, it all goes to help me not be as poor as I am. And believe me, I'm pretty poor. I did order this directly off of Amazon. That was the original release, was on Amazon. Now you can find them in Walmart, probably even Target. I did find it today at Walmart. I had one that was off the beaten path, so it is out there. Shouldn't have to struggle. Most of these were pretty easy to find. So let's look at Doc. All right, guys, so here we have Doc Brown as he kind of first appeared in 1955. And by the way, this is an insanely good Christopher Lloyd sculpt. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know. And this is, of course, when they first got there, or when Marty first got there, and Doc was still jacked up, still had the bandage over his eye from when he slipped and fell and hit his head on the toilet. Or actually, I guess he was standing on a toilet trying to hang a clock for whatever reason, and fell and hit his head, and that's when he dreamed up the flux capacitor. It's really funny. Look at the crazy hair. Look at the crazy hair. There's even a wash to it. A little bit matted in the back, very nuts. Trench coat looks fine. Some crappy crap happening on there. We can just assume stains. I think the trench coat is the thing that looks the worst because the buttons aren't even painted worth a damn. This top button isn't. And sometimes this is going to turn into a your mileage may vary situation. The inner clothing with the crazy patterned shirt is fantastic. The tweed pants, from what I can tell, I think that's what they're supposed to be, looks okay, but you can see the obvious problem that the legs don't match. This leg was definitely assembled on a different day because this brown does not match this brown, and considering he's Doc Brown, you think he would get that right. Yeah, I went there. And he does have the torn pants leg, which happened late in the movie, like as he's trying to fix the wire, and the thing fell and like caught on the edge of his pants, and he's trying to get it. So that happened way later. Though they do have some very interesting socks happening there, and the shoes are cool. Articulation is about as good as NECA can normally do, especially with somebody who's wearing a jacket, so not a lot of upward motion. He does have double jointed elbows with the jacket mounted in it, which is interesting. I guess it works, so can't complain too much, though you're not really going to use the rotation joint all that much because it totally breaks the illusion, as it were. It's hidden well back here, but not in here. These are the hands he tends to come with nothing on them, but he does have a watch molded in that you can't really see, and you can't push the sleeve up to access, but it's there. And then he has another watch on that wrist of a completely different design. And these are just kind of open, relaxed hands. They don't serve a purpose because he has only one thing to hold, and that ain't it, Chief. He does have some torso articulation. It's like way up here, so you just gotta be careful. Normal ball joint, head, and then another ball joint for the neck, but the neck is not painted, it's just raw plastic, so it definitely looks different than his face, as you can see right there. His face definitely has like a chalky aspect and even some 5 o'clock shadow happening, so that's actually good, but then they just don't bother with the neck at all, or even the hands. The hands aren't painted in any way, shape, or form. I do think he has a wrist joint, though. Yeah, he does. Okay, so you can see his watch a little bit better up in there. And the legs do leg things, though. Trench coat. And then they're a little bit wonky. I actually have a hard time getting him to stand. He hasn't stood much since coming out of the box. Single jointed knee back in here. Paint coming off. Usually happens. But you could get him in like a running pose, I guess. Sort of. I think I need to get some more NECA stands. Something, because half of my NECA figures either don't want to stand or are standing in such a way that they can only stand. So he just mostly looks like a creeper if he's not doing much of anything else. I wish they had given him open pockets so he could like stick his hands in his pockets. That would have been cool, but for the most part, that's Doc as he comes out of the box, but he has other things. Such as his gloved hands, which he uses, of course, near the end of the movie and during any of their science experiments. This is a bit dirtier, which is cool, and that's the one he can hold the pipe wrench with. I guess he could probably do both. And I like that they mold in the base of the gloves. I did have these on him. Got a little bit of paint fleck. That's what happens. It's probably all coming off the base here. I think these actually look a little bit better than the bare hands because they are at least painted. Nope. And there they are on the figure. Like I said, they look good, but don't help the creeper look. But what they do help is, well, they get paint everywhere, so that's always the thing. You do get the monkey wrench, or big old pipe wrench, which doesn't open, which seems very short-sighted on their part, but it's weathered nicely, painted up as well as you could expect from NECA. I digs it. Even a little bit of rust in there. And you could totally hold that in this hand. Like so. So he's ready to do some science. This hand is too open for it, but I guess you could two-hand it. But then his other accessories, he doesn't hold at all. So I don't know what the deal is. I mean, if he had like the wire hanging, that would totally make sense. Now let's look at the other accessories. So as for the other accessories, I've left them all in the packaging. Seriously, look at all the paint and flecks. It's not 100% off of him, but that's a lot. So you do get all of this in here. I'm going to pull this out first. So you get a whole blueprint schematic of the mansion, and you can just see all of that. It's pretty cool. It must have actually been in the movie. For the most part, I've seen a lot of displays where this is either up on like a fake board or laying flat on a table, something to that effect. I think this was less important than some other stuff. Like, I would have much rather gotten the scale diorama of how they were going to get the DeLorean to, to the future. But that's fine. Other thing you get, of course, is the sketch of the flux capacitor, which is correct for the movie. It's on paper. It looks crinkled. It's kind of funny. But, I mean, it works. This flux compression. I wonder if they had to change that. I think he wrote flux capacitor on the thing, so I don't know why they would get the license, but then can't use the proper terminology for things. That doesn't seem to make sense to me. And then you also get... Hold on. Do not open till... Actually, I think it says do not open. I don't know what it says. But basically, it's the do not open until 1985. The letter that Marty wrote him to make sure that he didn't die. And that's not... They should have had the torn up version. I think it would have been cool. Like, actually have the letter, but where he taped it all back together and realized that he could save himself. So once again, we got 3 versions of Marty from at least 3 different time periods, 1955, 1985, and 2015. But what we don't have is a doc from 1985. We got a doc from 1955, but only one version of doc from 1955. And then we don't even have a 1985 doc, whether that's normal clothes or crazy clothes or radiation suit. And I'm telling you that they need to have the radiation suit doc with an Einstein and the clipboard and the stopwatches and the remote control. So that's just what they need to do. But he has one other thing. I wasn't neglecting it, I just hadn't gotten to it yet. And that is the surprised frickin' face. And one thing you'll see right away is mine has a huge blemish right there, and that's clearly where some super glue got away from them. I have carved a lot of it off. That was significantly worse, but you can see the shine. But yeah, you can tell he's just super surprised. You can see the stubble on his face, which is good. Wash on the hair. And he has the goggles. The goggles actually can go on either face. You can see it just kind of goes up underneath the hair like that. So you can put it on whatever. But I use the goggles on this one because it kind of hides the blemish. Plus, that's the face he made when the little, small DeLorean went off the table and set fire to stuff. So that was where that face came from. That's not the face from later in the movie. That's the face he made when that went awry, for those who clearly never checked that out. Oh, I was trying to get it to stay, but my doc does not like to stand. I'll tell you that right now. So if you really want your doc to look insane, you can give him this face and these hands along with the weapon, so to speak. So he just looks like he's trying to kill somebody. It's weird. Let's just call a spade a spade. It's very strange. At least could have given us a non-jacketed version. But, so there's Doc. And since we have at least one other person actually from 1955, there he is with Biff. Biff is still a good one, with the exception that mine's head keeps falling over, or falling off, and his almanac you can't quite hold on to, not to mention the paint app problems. And then, of course, Marty from 1985, so you can see the height difference. So I'm not bringing out the other Martys for this reason, but it's good. And for comparison, there's the most recent Luke Skywalker we looked at. So you can see NECA really has a big old difference. And I thought I brought a foot soldier over here, but I did not. So, good job, me. Way to not bring that. Okay, so basically, he's a great head sculpt with some decent body stuff, but the accessories don't make a ton of sense. There's a lot of stuff that Doc could have come with, even 1955 Doc would have come with, like the gray jacket that he was wearing. It might have even been this jacket, but it looked like a different one entirely. along with the crazy mind reading thingy, or dog communicating thingy, whatever it was supposed to be. That would have been better. And if you wanted the one where he's supposed to be out on the street working on stuff, that would have been fine, but it's not exactly this version. Like the fact that his head is healed up a little bit better indicates that it's, you know, pretty fresh, or at least not as fresh as the other head, which is definitely from like their first meeting. So that totally makes sense. So there's just other versions of Doc they could have managed with some of these accessories, and that's one of the problems I'm having with NECA, and it, you know, it's exemplified with the new Marty. They gave him accessories that have nothing to do with that particular version of Marty. The picture that's partially faded, the hand that's going invisible, none of that had to do with Marty's Battle of the Bands. All of that had to do with the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. So this makes no sense. There's multiple things that this Doc could be, and they just gave him stuff that doesn't make sense. They gave him 3 pieces of paper, 2 of which are fine, and a third with the blueprints to his mansion aren't really, that's not really that, you know, relatable in comparison. Like there's other things that they could have given us that would have made sense. So while a great figure and at least a fantastic head sculpt, that one's jacked up just because there's somehow glue all over it. It's kind of weird. I'm also getting tired of getting spare heads. I would almost rather have an entirely different figure with another head sculpt rather than try to swap out faces. And you know, the hands are just unfinished. Like they could have just used some paint. Same thing with his neck. So for a company called NECA, they don't really do that much work on the necks. I know it's a bad joke. I don't care. Okay, so if at least you get that look, it works. Except for mine's got the shiner going on there. It's okay. He'll go on a dark shelf with everybody else. But like I said, great Christopher Lloyd sculpt. The rest of it, meh. Let me know what you think down below, guys. And are you going to pick up that other Marty? What other versions of Doc do we need? All of them. Let's just be honest here. But definitely 1985 Doc with the suit, with the box of plutonium, with Einstein, with the controller, with the stopwatches. That's what we need. More than this, we needed that. So, but I will catch you guys next time. And remember, as always, keep on hurting.